So that way it would set right up and it would record right away. And all I had to do is point, click, and now, lo and behold, what it is. You guys actually know why it wouldn't record the last time?
Because of the dirty diaper?
Oh yeah, that was actually a big part of it.
Because you forgot to do it.
What's that?
Because you forgot to press record.
No, I didn't press record. You actually cannot go to your website and access your My Meetings. You actually had to access it through the app. She's got an app, she's got a website, and then a third-party thing on the screen. So I went to the website and then the third-party screen, but apparently we're supposed to go to the app. So apparently I should have known that. I got it set right up there for you. You had it set right up. Oh yeah. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. I hope we get a few more folks, but you know what? We got this recorded. So here we go. So where we left off last time here, when we
froze.
I froze? I'm not frozen, am I?
No, I don't think so.
I think it's on our end.
Yep. All right. So basically, where we left off the last time, if you guys noticed what I did a couple days ago, is we were talking a little bit about goals, strategies, action, and how to take advantage of it. And the reason why I want to go a little deeper into this again here is because, you know, a lot of people have been in this, whether you've been in this business for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or you've been in there, or you're brand new, it's very easy to set a goal. Like, it's really hard with this business because the possibilities of this business are mind-blowing. Do you not agree? I mean, is anybody fascinated with the unlimited income potential that could happen with this business?
Yes.
I know Steve is. Steve, you don't have to. We know this. That's the given one right there. And the possibilities of this business will literally keep you awake at night. And it should. It should. Because if you truly understood the unlimited potential that this business provides, it should literally keep you awake every single night. And not just because of necessarily what used to keep me awake every single night was I was never, ever having success for the first year or so in this business. And partly that the thing that drove me nuts is I always got frustrated watching other people that I had more skill set than, that I believe that I had more network than, or that I was just as good as, and they were having success. Anybody ever go through that actually drives them nuts? And what my biggest mistake was I never converted over my skill set that I did in another company. How many of y'all know that all success principles are the same? All the success principles are the same. Whether you're a chef, whether you're a nurse, whether you own a mortgage company, whether you're a professional athlete, whether you're a pastor. I mean, all the success principles are all the same. You guys ever read the Bible and then go read a self-help book and you're like, oh my gosh, it's the exact same thing. It's just reworded a little bit different. So my pre-warning to you guys right away is, and most of y'all know this, but I am not a very good teacher. I'm actually a horrible teacher. I'm very good at doing, but I am horrible at teaching. And partly because this communication is not one of my strengths. It's actually on the Gallup Strength Finder. It's actually my bottom 5. And Carol will be really quick to agree with that and tell you that that's not one of my strengths there, which is communication. So what I would like to do is I want to have permission for you guys so it doesn't sound like bragging. This is not bragging or anything like that. I like to teach by doing. And so what I want to do is I want to take my previous experiences with the business and the other industries that I've been in, and then so that way you guys will relate because everybody has mastered something. How many people are really great at something in the world, whether it's a parent, whether it's a nurse, whether it's an old job, whether it's a sport, a martial art, anything? How many people feel like they've mastered at least 1 or 2 things in their life? Okay, so you're going to be relate with this. So are you guys? Do I have your permission to use my previous experiences and my examples to train you where it doesn't come off as look at me, look at me, look at me. Yes? Okay, perfect. So my previous experience before I actually got started in this job, or I'm sorry, in this industry, or in sales for that matter, or anything, is I used to be a construction worker and I was a restaurant server. I was an Applebee's server and a construction worker. I was basically the grunt. You know, I didn't have very much college education. I knew I wanted something that was going to produce more. So the only thing I could really go through for was sales. And right away, what I quickly realized is I do not like sales. I don't like being that guy. I don't like being the one that constantly has to hound on people and everything. But I did realize that as hard as I worked, I could actually get paid for what I was worth. So like at my regular job, however many hours I worked, divided by the amount of that I got, however many hours I worked, multiply that by the amount that they're paying me per hour. That was it. That was my job. The harder I worked, did I really get paid anymore? No. Now I got paid like as far as hourly wise, but there really was no, equation to it. So I got thrown into sales. Now my previous sales background experiences were so far have been in gym memberships, have been in Visalis, so direct sales with Visalis, and then also cable sales. Okay, so I've been in 3 different industries so far, and I was the #1 sales guy and manager in my gym sales career. I've been one of the top producers in network marketing at Visalis, and I've also been the #1 cable guy and manager ever since I've literally been in cable. Now, what I want to ask you guys is, how is it that somebody that knows nothing about muscles, George can attest for that, knows nothing about, doing the workouts or anything like that, can be #1 in gym sales? How is it that somebody that doesn't have necessarily a lot of confidence, how is it that somebody that doesn't know how to build a business, that has never been around entrepreneurs their whole life, how is it that somebody that has no experience in the network marketing industry or anything like that, or can go out there and be a top producer in Visalis? And thirdly, how is it that somebody that doesn't know anything about cable, doesn't know anything about technology, has to have their wife tell me how to turn on their computer, has to be taught how to record a simple Zoom meeting? How is it that somebody that doesn't have any experience can be #1 in all those areas? Anybody want to take a guess? This is the hint. This is the whole training here tonight.
Passion.
Huh? Passion, but what it really breaks down to is it breaks down to goals, strategy, action. So that was the hint that I was giving you. That's the whole training about this tonight, was goals, strategy, action. And what goals allow you to simply do is, once your goals are so clearly defined, what you need to is everything that you do out there is simply broke down to goals, strategy, action. Okay. So whether it's that you want to become a regional director in a company, an ambassador in a company, a national director in a company, an area director in a company, whatever it is that you want to be in the company, before you even get started, you've got to have a clear goal in sight, and it's got to be so clearly defined in what you want. Literally to the point of, I want to have 10 promoters in my team this month. I like to break it down to short-term goals, mid-range goals, and long-term goals. The #1 reason why people get frozen in this business, like, does anybody ever get really excited when they get off a call, or when they get excited and then when it's time to go to work, they're kind of frozen, they don't know what to do?
Yep, I do.
You want to know why that might be? Because your goals aren't clearly defined. They might not be wrote down, but the goals might be so far out of reach. You might have set your goals so high. So for instance, you might want to go out there, okay, I want to break shareholder. I want to break national director. And you're not even re-qualifying as a director or an area director or something like that. So what happened is we set these goals that are so far out of reach for ourselves, which is very contradictory, because sometimes people say, shoot for the stars, and if you hit the moon, that's great, right? Sounds great, right? But what we got to do is, especially as beginners in network marketing or entrepreneurship, is we've got to set short-term goals, mid-range goals, and long-term goals. Because if you set your goal to be a national director, but you don't even have any promoters that are active in your team, is that stressful? That's stressful. You're like, I don't even know where to start. Cindy, I hope that you're frozen because it looks like she's rolling her eyes at me or something like that. Anybody see her? No, it's Cindy Apps. Cindy Apps there. It's actually hilarious. I should take a screenshot of that. So, so what happens is you've got to break your goals down smaller, because if you break your goals down smaller with, okay, my goal is I want 3 promoters in my waiting room by next Thursday, or I want to go break national director. Which an easier goal to go out there and reach for and hit? Anybody?
First one.
Yeah, the 3 promoters. Because all you simply have to do is just go focus on reaching out to those 3 promoters. It's a smaller goal, so you know what you do is you're more clearly defined with it. So once you get so clearly defined with your goals, and you kind of have to go deep on them. They have to have a deadline, and you have to be really clear with the goals that you're setting. Because some people set goals to where, okay, I'm just a really good customer getter. I don't like promoting, but I like to acquire customers. You have folks like that on your team? So what you might have to do is you might have to set a goal with, okay, my goal is I need to make sure that I have I want to make sure that I have 5 people that are business builders in my business. You've got to be clearly defined with that. You've got to literally have that, okay, this is the type of people that I want to reach out to. And that might be part of your strategy. So people follow people. People follow people who know where they're going. So if you don't have your goals clearly defined, and this is the thing that Carol has a very hard time with. I don't know if it's my naivety. Like, for instance, I'm ignorant. I've always been really good at setting goals because I don't know that it's not possible. And I'm actually stubborn. So when somebody tells me I can't have it, guess what? I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. And guess what? How many of you on this line right now are a little bit like that? Be honest. If you tell me I can't have something, I'm going to go figure out a way to go get it. So we got basically everybody on here like that, okay? So you were those children that drove your parents nuts. If you told you couldn't have something, you just had to go do it, okay? This is exactly what that business is like. You got to have a little bit of that in you, okay? So when you set that goal and you're clearly defined with it, what it is it develops this certain confidence level to you. You know where you're going. You don't necessarily know how to get there, but you know where you're going. That is the number one piece of advice I could probably give you when you're reaching out to talk to people. Because people follow people that know where they're going. So when you talk to them and you know exactly what your business is going to look like, you know what kind of people that are going to be in your business, when you reach out and talk to people, they can hear the passion, they can hear the sternness in your voice. Okay, so your strategy, you can base your strategy off that. So your strategy is really simple. Now this right here, I think, is where the rubber meets the road. And this is where the secret to all of it is. How many people are perfectionists or control freaks on here? Everybody's pointing to each other. Everybody's pointing to each other. So what happens is, and this is where I believe my strength is, and this is where I can believe that I've been number one in all those 3 of those categories, because there's no coincidence how I'm number one in all 3 of those categories, and I wasn't very good at them all at first. So once you set your goal that's so clearly defined, now it's time to come up with a strategy. Now with network marketing and direct sales, it's really great because they already have a system in place, yeah? But it's up to you to create the strategy where you can fit your personality into that. So insert here. You've got to create who you are, what your system is with inside the system. Now, this is where it happens. Most people, they don't create a strategy because they're waiting for the perfect strategy. They're waiting for the perfect strategy before they execute, okay? And the problem with that is people are afraid to go jump in because they're afraid to make a mistake. They don't want to look like a fool. They want to bring in a bunch of people that want to go build a business, but they don't necessarily have the confidence themselves right now if they can go out there and build a business. You have to understand that part of your strategy is you might not necessarily be a business promoter, but you've got to start talking to the people that are the business promoters. You got to separate that from the way that you talk to the people that want to be customer acquirers are. Like being a customer acquirer in this business is a lot of fun and it does a lot of good and it can make money, but it's just a slower process on how to build. Does that make sense? Like who's in charge of all your customers? You or your other promoters? You are. So if you can get in the mindset of setting your goals high, that you want to have 10 promoters just like yourself that are customer acquirers, you start talking to a higher influencer. Like I would have to, if I was reaching out to talk to Lindy and Steve, I would have to have two very different conversations, don't you think? I would have to have two very different conversations. If I was talking to a higher influencer, more of a business mind like Steve, I would have to reach out to him and say something like, and because I know my goals, because I know where I'm going, I would have to reach out to Steve and say something like, hey, Steve, I know you're already very successful, very businessman. I look up to you. I actually have something I'm working with right now that I believe that you'd have a lot of success at. It might not be something that you're interested in, but I would love your opinion on this. Well, what you got going on? Get him the information right away and, follow back up with him. But basically the conversation is he might come back at with me where, well, I don't have time to go out there and be getting all these customers and everything like that. Good. You don't have to, Steve. Just go find me the 10 people that want to go make $1,000 a month and you can make $5,000, $6,000 a month in this company. You don't have to be the one to go out there and bring in all the customers and spend a lot of time. You just connect me to the folks that do. Right? So that's one conversation that you got to be able to have. That would be part of my strategy if I wanted to bring in business promoters. Now, if I also wanted to bring in somebody that I knew that maybe that needed a little lower conversation, that maybe wanted to make an extra $400 or $500, the conversation would be simple as this. Let's just help you go out there, acquire a couple customers, find another couple teammates, and let's teach them how to go out there and get their customers, get their kids. And you're going to go out there and you're going to make $500 a month. That's what's missing out of some of y'all's conversation. Listen, if you do this, you will make $400 or $500 a month. You will make $400 or $500 a month. You will do this. You will do this. You do this. You will make it. Again, it's that backbone that's speaking. But if you're wavering in the conversation, if you're like, well, you might make $500 a month. And then here's where a lot of it will come into play. So how many of y'all have people on your team or you yourself are uncomfortable with asking somebody if they want to make $1,000 a month because they're not making $1,000 a month now? So I'll re-ask that question. How many people themselves, or do you have people in your team who aren't having that conversation? Do you want to make $1,000 a month because they're themselves or yourself is not making it right now? It's that conversation right there. And what you got to think of is that's why your business is stagnant or isn't growing at all or is going backwards. What that is it reminds me of an old story. You guys ever heard of the old man and the fire? You ever? So some of you heard it, some of you not. I'll give you a quick little background on it. So the old man's sitting there, okay? He's sitting in front of the fire, and the fire's dying down. And the fire's dying down. It's about to it's about to go out, and the old man's sitting there with a log, and he's yelling at the fire, and he's like, "You give me more heat, and then I'll give you more wood." Doesn't quite work out that way, does it? You've got to be able to feed the fire in order for it to grow. So I'm going to give you a little bit of strategy on how you can go out there and change your whole story and get a clean slate. So if you're about to reach out to somebody, let's say if you wanted to put 3 EPSs, who would be interested in bringing in 3 business partners by next Thursday making $1,000? here's the conversation. I already gave you the conversation of the 2 different types of people that you can reach out to. But if you don't have the goals clearly defined in your head and you don't have the confidence in yourself, if you can't be ignorant enough to say, this is where I'm going, I don't care what anybody else thinks, this is where I'm going, it won't really matter. It's because you can tell yourself that I've already reached out to all these people. I've already reached out to all these people and nobody's really done anything. You've reached out to them blindly. You've aimlessly reached out to them. You've blindly reached out to them, and they could tell that you didn't know where you were going, so therefore they didn't have the confidence in you to go out there and follow you. Here's the best thing about a strategy. You want to know the best thing about the strategy? Is it doesn't have to be the right one. Because what happens is when you dive in and you start running that strategy, the best way to learn is by doing. So here's where the rubber meets the road. Here's where all the magic is I am not afraid to go out there and make a mistake. I actually embrace. You guys ever hear me make fun of myself? I'm like, oh, Quady, the dang dummy. You ever hear me do that stuff and have a fun with it and joke about it all the time? I do that to make sure to let you know it's okay to mess up in this business. It's okay to not be the smart, the cool guy in this business or the cool girl or the expert. Sometimes we bring in a lot of folks that are experts in their industry, and they don't want to go out there and make it look like a fool, so they never expose themselves. They never throw themselves out there. They never throw themselves out there to go out there and learn because they're afraid to make a mistake or they're waiting for the perfect strategy to go out there. Here's the best thing about this. Once you jump in, part of your strategy, then it's all about this. Tweak here, tweak here, tweak here, adjust, 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 tweak, 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 bam. Got it. So when I was in cable, everybody else was sitting in a room training. That's what I was doing. I was out in the field making mistakes right away. I was making all the mistakes and then bam. I knew exactly what not to do, 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 what not. Bam. Same thing with Vi. When everybody else was sitting there on VET or their version of VET, George, what was that? Like some weird thing. What the heck were we used to train off of? You remember that thing? It was like Success Learning System or Viball or something like that. Anyways, it was the training system was unreal. But basically what we used to do is while everybody was sitting in a classroom, I was out in the field running around, making my mistakes, hearing the no's, and adjusting my strategy, adjusting my strategy, and then bam. But the only way you can go out there and adjust your strategy, what fits to your personality, is if you're going out there and taking action. And what people lack a lot is the taking action part. Because if they want to take action on going out there and grabbing promoters or bringing in their business partners, a lot of times they won't go out there and do it because they're comfortable. They keep resorting back to what's comfortable. They don't want to go make a mistake. They've got to be perfect. They don't want to look like a fool. So they keep going to what's comfortable to them. So what's comfortable to us a lot is working with our same promoters that we already have. How many people have fell into the trap of you get off a call, you get off a goal, strategy, action session, and you get all excited, and then you reach back to your old promoters that are doing nothing? Anybody? We all do it because it's easier. New blood will always solve old problems. So if I can recap that real quick, goals, strategies, action. You have got to be with anything that you're doing in life, and especially in this business, your goals have got to be so clearly defined. And your strategy, you've got to come up with a strategy. And the beautiful part about it is it doesn't even have to be the right one. You've just got to pick a strategy and start moving. How many people on the call here started with a college course? Like, okay, this is what I want to be when I grow up out of high school. And by the time they graduated, they were so far off course, it wasn't even funny. Anybody? Or do you ever hear about those people? See, Cindy, you're the only one. Well, the other Cindy. Oh, all right, there. So what it is you might sit there and think, it's not what you think, it's what the whole world is thinking. Steve, have you ever had something like that?
I see it all the time.
Did you start off your high school career wanting to graduate with an MBA?
No?
But
I vowed that I would never go back to college ever again once I got done with my bachelor's. I promised the world I would never go back to school again.
But I mean, did you know, like as a freshman in high school, or like that's where you were going to be? Did you have an idea what you wanted to be when you grow up?
No idea, none.
Okay, no idea. Okay, it's kind of going the other way here. So, but did you have? Okay, never mind. That's kind of a bad example, so we're not going to go through. So some people will say like, okay, I want to grow up to be a doctor. They start their freshman year. Okay, I want to be a doctor, and then they start going like this, and all of a sudden, that's not even the degree that they ended up with. They started off going after one degree, and then so when you started your freshman year of college, Steve, was it to get your MBA?
No, I went to college to be a teacher.
Okay, there you go. That's perfect example. Okay, so he went to be a teacher, but as he started along his goals, as he started implementing his strategy, he made a tweak, and all of a sudden, he ended up totally in left field from where he started. But he would have never got there if he didn't have a goal set and he was actually moving towards that goal. Does that make sense? So you can't be afraid. To go out there and just set that strategy and start moving. So you start tweaking that. Now, what might prevent you from taking action is you might be sitting there saying at nighttime, like after you get out of work, you're just like, oh, I'm just too tired to do this. I'm just too tired to do that. Or I don't know if I can do this. I don't like recruiting. I don't like this. I don't like that. It's not that you're tired. It's not that you're unmotivated. You just don't know where you're going. You're not clearly defined with your goals. And you're not ignorant with your goals. I mean, you got to be very deliberate, but you can't sit there and have your own limiting beliefs determine what your future is going to be, because it's your own limiting beliefs which will prevent you from going where you need to go. That's as simple as it breaks down to be. If you were clearly defined with your goals and they were up on a wall and you had a dream board and you knew exactly how many promoters that you were going to have in your team next month and then in 6 months, and you knew what your ambassador's speech was, and you basically the easiest way to say this is you can't be a lame adult. You can't be a lame adult. You cannot be a lame adult and do this business. You've got to be able to pretend. It's time to pretend. You've got to really start getting giddy with this type of stuff. Because that right there, once you allow yourself to get excited, then you will wake up every single day so determined on that action. So there's your goals, there's your strategies, there's your actions. Okay? It simply boils down to that right there. Don't be afraid to dive in and start tweaking your strategy along the way. Now, I'm going to give you one quick strategy because my time's just about up here. I got about 3 or 4 more minutes. But let's say if your strategy right now is you wanted to get a clean slate, you wanted to get a clean story. You wanted to start brand new. If you have somebody that wanted to start brand new and they're not asking people if they want to make $1,000 a month because they themselves are not making $1,000 a month. So you can literally use this strategy right here. You guys all know that between now and the end of the month, we all have double fast start bonuses extended to the end of the month, right? You guys all know that? Here's the easiest thing right now. So between now and next Thursday, you are going to get what in your waiting room? 3 EPSs. Now, when you are a rising star, you get paid $125, $125, $125 per EPS, right? That's what? $375. Now, double fast start bonuses, that's $750. Now, when you hit the enroller pool by enrolling 3 EPSs or higher, that's another $200, $300. Okay? So once you get it in your head that you are going to break that, you are going to find your 3 business partners, okay? What happens is now you're able to start reaching out to folks. And you're able to say conversations like, hey, I'm sorry I didn't reach out to you sooner. I know that you think that you know what I'm doing before. I don't care if you do this or not, but I really want you to take a look at this because I really feel like you can make an extra $1,000 a month with this company. I feel like you can make an extra $500 a month with this company. I don't care if you do it, but I would love for you to take a look at this. Because you already have your goals down, now when you're reaching out to them, you're so much more excited, your structure is a lot more sound, and your backbone's way stronger. They will go take a look, I can guarantee it. If you allow people not to take a look at this, whatever you will get in life, whatever you allow. You will get in life whatever you allow. If you allow people to talk down to you, they will continue to what? Talk down to you. If you allow the world, if you allow the devil to keep attacking you with his foolish ways, what will happen? The devil will always attack you because he sees that you know, that you're weak. And so he will allow it. That's not trying to be mean, okay? But he will see that you're an easy target. So he will continue to allow that. If you see people constantly just whatever you allow, and it goes the opposite way too. If you only allow yourself success and happiness in your life, people will stop picking on you, or people will stop looking at you as a target, okay? So that's step one before you go out there and start. So once you have that attitude, you will not allow people to not look at this business. You won't allow it. You will take a look at this. That sounds cocky, doesn't it? Or does that sound confident? Maybe some of you are missing that out of your voice. Girls, you have my permission to go out there and be humble divas. I want you to be humble divas. I want you to be a diva, but I want you to be humble about it. Guys, you know what? You can say whatever manly, inappropriate word you can want to do that us guys usually say that I won't say on this because it's recorded. So when people ask you, well, how are you doing this business? You already know where you're going by next Thursday, so your conversation is, well, so far, my check's going to be about $500 this week. So far, my check's about $500 this week, and I don't know what it's going to be the rest of the month, but this is a blast. I love this. Boom. That's your conversation. That's your conversation. The whole thing is just totally different. So right there, what it is you now that are talking to them like that, now all of a sudden next Thursday, you brought in your 3 EPSs, you hit the enroller pool, and you made $1,000 this month. Congratulations. Whether you're brand new or you've been in for 5 years, you now have your story that you're making $1,000 a month. That right there is a strategy. That right there is a strategy. That right there was part of your goal. You set a strategy and you took action. But here's your strategy. Okay? It might have only been you were going to reach out to 10 people. But guess what? You reached out to 10 people and you've only got 2 people on the fence. So do you have to change your strategy now? Yes, you have to change your strategy. You have to reach out to 40 people. That's that's what adjusting your strategy is. That first strategy didn't even have to be the right one. That first strategy didn't even have to be the right one. It just had to be a strategy. And then you moved towards it. But when you're talking to people like this, and what happens is they can hear it in your voice. So you go out there, you broke Rising Star Director. Now all you simply do in your waiting room, so you brought 3 EPSs in. Well, guess what? Now you have 3 people in your waiting room that are all excited. What do? You go do the exact same thing with them. Put them through the GST, okay? Help them set up their goals. Help them set up a strategy. Help them take action, okay? Now you've got one person in that team that only took advantage of it, okay? But now you have one person in your team. They went out there. They broke Rising Star in their first 30 days, from their first 2 weeks. So they earned triple points, right? Triple points, right? So how excited are they? That is how you rechange around your whole business walking into the beginning of the year. But what happens is between all the new customers and all the new promoters that you bring in between now and the end of December, all that volume is transferring over into the new year, into January. So right now, guys, this is a 45-day run. This is a chance for some of you guys on here to go requalify National Director this month and earn double equity points. This is a chance for some of y'all to go out there and finally break that Regional Director position that you're hitting. Technically, you could go out there and hit $6,000 in volume this month, or $3,000 in volume this month, $3,000 in volume next month, plus maybe $5,000 that you already have in auto ships. Bam, you're a Regional Director, okay? Bam, you're a Regional Director. But it's as simple as you've got to go out there and set those strategies. You've got to be able to go out there, create your goal, get clearly defined with it, and write it down. Have a long-term, a mid-term, and a short-term goals with deadlines on it. Be able to create your strategy and not be afraid to go out there and make a mistake. The easiest way I can say this is act as if. Act as if you're already an ambassador. Act as if you're already a Regional Director. You've got to act like it, talk like it, walk like it, and once you do, that's right there what it is. But that just simply comes from being clearly defined with your goals. So what we are really good at is creating stories, rising stars, and creating 1,000-aires. Creating 1,000-aires, creating stories, and breaking rising stars. We really only do 3 things in this company. Everything is all set up for you guys right now. that's really all I have. I appreciate you jumping on this call here, Friday night. I hope this information was valuable. I hope this helped out. But what I would definitely suggest is it is not up to your upline. It is not up to your team leader. It is not anybody else's. It's up to you where you end up at. You're the one that sets your course. You're the one that has to reach out for the information. You're the one that has to reach out for the class. You can't have your excuse of, well, I didn't know that call was. I didn't know what this was. I didn't know what this was. No, it's up to you to seek out the information, to seek out the class. You got to be hungry. That's the best quality I could probably ever have you. You just got to be hungry, and you got to know what's about to happen. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Take advantage of the double fast start bonus. Go get it now. Take action now, and take advantage of the rolling qualifying volume. That right there is your goals, strategies, action. Love you guys.
Josh, awesome. Thank you.
See ya. Thanks.